Welcome back, my friends, to the motorbike show that never ends. It's what is it? What is it? I don't know. What is it? Oh, that's right. It's hello from him, and hello Wolf from Sasha the Guzzy dog, or the Himalayan dog. Well, today she's a Himalayan dog. Right, so more modifications to the Himmy in the aim of practicality. Okay, well, one of the reasons I like Moto Guzzies is they don't have chains on. Oiling a chain is a major pain in the arse, and you have to do it. You have to keep the damn thing maintained. Even these X and O-ring chains need a smear of oil to keep the O-rings lubricated, and also to get a bit of oil on the sprockets and rollers and stop them wearing out quite so fast. The minute you start using a chain, it starts wearing out. There's no two ways about it, but there we go. We have to put up with it. On a small bike like a 450 shaft drive, it's not really all that practical if you're going to lose quite a few horsepower. Anyway, so I looked at buying a chain oiler, and they seem to get more complicated all the time. As a good old Scott oiler that used to rely on vacuum now is computer controlled and blah blah blah, and even the gravity ones are ridiculously expensive. I just can't see how they can justify that. So, true to form, I sat down and tried to work something out that will work on this bike, bearing in mind the physical dimensions of the bike and the practicality and everything, and what have you. And I had a brainwave when I was doing a bit of welding, and I put a new tip on the welding torch, and I thought, you know what, that would be ideal as a dispenser for the oil. So here we go. I took one of them out and searched for various places to put it on the bike. My original thought was to have it coming down the back, so I put this long piece of aluminum on there. I was going to have it coming down, and then I spotted this place there where I could make a nifty little gadget. So the welding tip is actually held in place by a bracket on this piece of aluminium here, which all it is just a little piece, little block like that, which has been tapped for a lock nut like that, a locking screw with a lock nut on it, and if you can see, and that just holds the welding tip in place. You know, if that's my welding tip, obviously it has to come further around, but that's how it's held. So you've got adjustment up and down and in and out, and what we've done is we've put it on the right next to the sprocket there, and it looks like it's touching, but it's not. I wanted to get it nice and close because I didn't want the wind to blow the oil away when you're moving. So anyway, that's that part. Obviously we've got a piece of clear hose so we can tell what's going on. So we've got the dispenser organized, we've got the supply to it. Now, how are we going to get the oil on the chain and what have you? I've seen plastic bottles that you squeeze, and I've seen little pumps, and well, the thing about gravity is it always works, and if it stops working, you will have more things to worry about than whether the chain is getting oiled or not. We're going to be floating off into space, so I think I can rely on gravity. So what do I do? Where do I put it? There's no room under the seat. I've got all my luggage back here and my tools, and really I haven't got an awful lot of space, and it has to be easy to be filled as well. So anyway, I set about thinking, and again, not wanting to drill and tap the frame or weld on the frame or do anything, I decided to come off this bolt here, the spare hole that I used to mount my pannier boards, and I'm looking for a suitable reservoir, and I found a piece of aluminum pipe, and I thought now a length of that will be alright, but how to keep the oil in. So I found another piece of plate and I drilled and tapped it for a 20mm bolt, and that would make my top. Now the bottom would have a similar piece but with a smaller hole in it, and I was thinking about what to use. Well, a tap is obvious, but a tap is generally on off on off. I wanted something that would give me some sort of graduation, and then I thought or something like off a welding torch or a cutting torch. This is my old cutting torch. It's a redundant one. I've had it for, I don't know, 30 years. It's air liquide. We don't use air liquide anymore. We use Victor these days, so none of the tips and none of the fittings will fit our modern stuff. So I thought, well, I'll try with that. And by Jove, it works. So we made another plate to go on the bottom, drilled and tapped it 1/8 national pipe thread, which is what that happens to be, which is very handy because we just happen to have one of these in the drawer. So we drilled and tapped it, and now you can see the valve here. Whoops. And I've got it marked, so I don't have to turn it on much, just to about there. I'm sorry, I wanted to put some paint on it to demonstrate it, but the paint was splotched. Anyway, it gives you an idea. That is the setting that I'm going to go with. And obviously it will depend on the thickness of the oil. At the moment we've got 75 140 in, which was just a few cc's in the bottom of a gear oil container. This is synthetic. I wouldn't normally use synthetic. I'd just use some cheaper oil, but just for the purposes of demonstration, I suppose we can turn it on and we can prove that it does work. And you see the oil coming down. There you go. Oops, there we are, see the oil. So anyway, there we are. It's going to be a question of experimentation to see what settings we use on the tap or the valve as regards the viscosity of the oil and obviously the temperature on the day. But it's not rocket science. As long as the chain's getting oil, that's okay. So we turn it on before we fire the bike up. We go for a ride, and then about 5-6 miles from home we turn it off, and hopefully it will stop dripping by the time we get home. Yeah, so another thing on here is for oil to come out, air has to get in, and I did this by drilling and tapping and putting a grease nipple on there, which I attached an overflow hose to. Now, as luck would have it, this 90-degree grease fitting is also 1/8 national pipe thread, so this tap I was able to drill into the side here, put a grease nipple in. Now you're going to say there's a valve there, a little ball valve to stop the air coming out. Well, what you do is, if you've ever had one of these apart, you take the end off here with a 7mm spanner wrench, and in there's a little pressing with a spring and a ball. And what you do is you get a file and you file the back of the pressing out, and it just pops all out, and then you've got a straight hole in, which allows you to vent your container. Now, this is a dodge I've used on a farm machinery before. Sometimes you'll get a gearbox on a power driven machine like a, I don't know, like a baler or a destoning machine. I think that was the favorite one, where the gearbox gets hot and pressurizes and blows the seal. But if you can just allow air to escape and then come back in as it cools down, it stops the seals from leaking, and that also works on various other things. So all you need is to just put it in and put your little hose on there. And a good thing to hold them on, because you haven't got much room there, a good thing to hold them on is a bit of electrical heat shrink. So anyway, that's that's the chain oiler, which relies on gravity. So thank you, Sir Isaac Newton, and I haven't got an apple handy, but if a gallon of oil falls on your head while you're sitting under a tree, you know who to thank. Okay, so that's one of the mods. And another mod I've done was, I wasn't happy with the standard radiator guard. This is it. This is the standard one. It's plastic, and for road use I think it's fine, but if you're going to do gravel, then you can have some fair chunks of gravel being thrown around, and not only off your wheel but off vehicles coming the other way. And yeah, who knows, it may be alright, it may not, I don't know, but I figured something more substantial would fit the bill. And as you can't get Royal Enfield parts very easily at the moment, there's a terrific wait for them, I decided to go ahead and make my own. Now, off we went on our CAD system, cardboard aided design, which is very high in fibre, which is the sort of strength you need for a radiator guard, sorry. Oh dear, my toilet humour. Anyway, so yeah, so this is the initial sketch, and then we put it on the bike. Sorry, that's the top. One bolt at the top, two at the bottom. Put it on the bike, tried it for size, made a more detailed drawing on another piece of cardboard, and passed it on to my son, who very kindly cut it out for me on a plasma machine. Now you could do this yourself with a drill if you're patient, and there's no reason why you can't. You know, all it takes is a bit of knowing where to drill the holes. Drill a hole, and then cut between the two. You've got a slot, or just have holes, have your own design, have anything you want. We just opted for a very simple design, and went with that. So this is prototype. This is the prototype actually, and when it came back we tried it on, and then we decided to change a few things, get rid of the one hole there, alter a few dimensions, and what we came up with is this. And I don't know if you can see that. So we've come up a little higher than the original, and certainly come down lower. One of the reasons for coming so low was to cover up the lambda sensor. I didn't want crap coming off the front wheel and corroding up around the lambda sensor if I had to take it out, and also to give the horn a bit of protection right there. And also the sides of the rad, we've got sort of 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch gap there, so it'll take a whack from the side, and this will probably bend back, distort a little, and probably save the radiator tanks, which are on each side. And also one of the projects for the future, probably the winter, is to put a full skid plate on this bike, and then in that case we'll couple up on here, on this ledge here that we've left, and then we'll go underneath the engine all the way to the back, and maybe incorporate it with some crash bars, who knows. So there it is. It's very, very simple really. We decided not to have any bends and hollows in it, just nice and straight. There's only 3 bolts holding it, so it was a case of just putting a spacer deep enough on the other side just to hold it away from the radiator and the tanks. Nice and straight too, so that when, you know, if you're in muddy conditions, you can hose it and all the crap will just flow straight out the bottom. So no problems there. So yeah, I think that'll work nicely. You know, it's not touching anywhere on the tank or anything like that, petrol tank. So I think that'll work pretty good. we shall see. On the original, you see I duct tape the center off. It was an experiment to stop the crap from hitting the radiator, which it sort of did, and also to see if reduced fin area would cause the bike to overheat, which it didn't. So then I was pretty confident that this sort of pattern wasn't going to cause the bike to overheat. So that's that. So the two main adaptations are the chain oiler, radiator guard, and a couple of little ones, a couple of rather silly ones you might think, but who knows. I really like these Lomo tank bags. Yeah, tank bags, or crash bar bags, whatever you want to call them. Crash bar bags, because they're on the side. I think they're very useful. I think they're exactly the right size. And I noticed when I was riding how it was keeping the tops of my legs warm, you know, here. Now, I do suffer with my knees because of so many winters of kneeling on frozen ground, working on machinery and welding and what have you, carving cows in the cold, you know, that kind of thing. So my knees are very susceptible to the cold, and even with heated trousers on, they don't really do anything for your knees. You know, electrically heated trousers, they're good, but the cold can still get through to your knees. But I noticed that these bags just kept it off the top of my leg, above the knee. So what I did was I made these, and you can laugh if you wish. They look a bit like old-fashioned things that the old boys used to have with their BSA A10s when they were hauling their 4 adult sidecar down to the Skegness, the seaside. Oh dear, never mind. But what they are is one of those kneeling mats that you know put on the floor. So it's a soft, thick foam rubber, and just a very thin bracket. This is the backer. There's one on the other side which just fastens onto an engine bolt. Oh, just above the engine bolt. Where the hell is it? There, can you see it? It's just very thin aluminum, sort of, I don't know, what is that, 16 gauge? Very thin stuff. So if the bike goes down, this is going to get bent. It's not going to hurt your leg because it's very, very soft. And if it bends the bracket, you can bend it back, and if it breaks the bracket, it doesn't matter because you just put this in your bag and make another bracket when you get home. It's just a L-shaped piece of aluminum. There's nothing to it, absolutely nothing. So hopefully that will work. And then to block up the gap between the tank and the crash bar, I just pushed a bit of this thin foam in, the stuff that they pack. Amazon pack stuff in that they ship to you, you know. Just try it and see what happens. It might even stop the rain coming in and getting on your legs, who knows. Haven't tried it on the road yet. We'll be doing that shortly. Also I've moved my side stand pad to the front. This is what I use. Whoops. This is what I use to go under the side stand, like so. And that means that the bike is now at a reasonable angle. I think I've shown it you in another video. You know, if you watch one of the Indian guys at the British Adventure Bike Rally, he talks to, I think it's Steve Everett, the guy that designed most of the bike, or the design chief, or whatever they want to call him, design lead. And he describes what went wrong with the side stand. And basically the side stand worked, and then somebody in Royal Enfield decided to reduce the sag on the bike. So the bike now stands higher, and so the side stand is too short. And I've tried lengthening and it doesn't work. The most you can get away with is 1/2 inch. I don't care what anybody says. Half an inch is all you can get away with the standard centre stand. If you want to take the centre stand off, and you can extend the side stand as much as you want, but then you won't have a centre stand to do your chain maintenance, remove wheels, etc, etc. So yeah, that's all you can do. Now I do have some thoughts about altering that, but that's a big job and it's going to take a while, and that's a job for the winter. So we won't do that now. At the moment, a piece of plywood is good enough. So I've moved my plywood holster to the front. I did have it on the back, and it was quite easy to pull the block out, but with gloves on, it was quite hard to get back in. I don't know if you remember, it went in here where this little can is. So that worked good, but for pulling it out and putting it under, but when you wanted to get it back in again, it was rather awkward. Having it behind you and trying to do it with gloves is damn near impossible. So I moved the holster to the front where it can be seen. Still just as easy to use. No real hindrance, the bags still fit okay. And back here I can have a little can with some chain oil in. So this is my little can. Fits in the same place. Fits pretty tidy. And there you go. Yeah, kind of explosive gear. No, it's not, it's empty. Yeah. This, for those of you who don't know, this is a can that old-fashioned gunpowder comes in, the old black powder. 3FG, so it's priming pan powder for a flintlock. But really nice cans. There we go. But they're just the right size, you know, what is it? I don't know, 16 ounces, whatever. Well, that'll probably keep you going for a week or more on the road. Who knows? It's a nice little place to hide a can. Just don't try crossing any of the international borders with this on. I was going to scratch the name off, but I thought I don't really want to. It's a nice can, that. Anyway, so that's it for now. Chain oiler, rad guard, new holster for the plywood pad, the chain oiler container. That's pretty much it, really. That's all I've got to say. Leg guards. So yeah, I've been working on the bike instead of riding, but I've had a poorly dog to look after, so I couldn't go very far. Poor old Sasha has an injured back, and 3 months ago she was sort of paralyzed and couldn't use her back legs. Now she's back walking again, so it's important to get the old girl on 4 legs, just as important as me to get on 2 wheels. But anyway, she's a happy, bright dog. She hasn't got full function of her back legs, but she can get around, follow me out to the workshop and back to the house, and even go for truck rides once in a while. Did I say truck ride? Did I say biscuit? No, I didn't say biscuit, but here we are. So, she's a good girl. She's an old girl, but she's happy and content and interested. So until next time, it's goodbye from him. It's goodbye from Sasha, the Himalayan dog. Look after yourselves, take care of one another. Rubber side down, shiny side up. Behave yourselves if you possibly can. Keep riding, enjoy the summer. Adios.